If you want to change your life, stop chasing comfort and start chasing growth. Growth isn't a phase, it's a mindset, a lifestyle, an obsession. And the moment you commit to it fully, your world will never be the same again. The truth is, you don't get what you wish for, you get what you grow for. The gap between where you are and where you want to be, that's called growth. And the more obsessed you become with improving every day, just 1% at a time, the faster your reality begins to shift. Let's break down 6 powerful principles to fuel your obsession with growth. No one, fall in love with the process, not the... We live in a results-obsessed world. Everyone talks about the end goal, the dream job, the perfect body, the 6-figure income, the recognition, the applause. But here's the truth. Goals don't change your life. Processes do. Falling in love with the process is what separates the dreamers from the doers. Because anyone can write down a goal. Anyone can imagine a better future. But not everyone is willing to wake up early, push through resistance, and repeat the same foundational habits day after day without applause or reward. Why? Because the process feels slow. It feels invisible. It often feels boring. But that's where the real transformation begins. Let me tell you something powerful. The process is where identity is built. Every time you show up to do the work, especially when you don't feel like it, you're reinforcing who you are. You're casting a vote for the future version of yourself. When you lift that weight, make that sales call, write that page, or choose the healthy meal, you are no longer hoping for success. You're becoming it. When you chase only the prize, setbacks feel like failure. But when you're in love with the process, setbacks become part of the craft. They don't break you, they build you. You start to understand that mastery comes from repetition, not inspiration. The best athletes, the top performers, the high achievers, they all have one thing in common. They honor the process. They're not addicted to the outcome. They're addicted to getting better. Think of it this way. A farmer doesn't get frustrated because the crop doesn't appear the next day. They trust the process of sowing, watering, nurturing, and waiting. Your growth is no different. The results may not show up overnight, but if you keep showing up, they will come. It's inevitable. Falling in love with the process also gives you long-term power. Because once the prize is achieved, if the process hasn't become part of your identity, you'll lose what you gain. How many people lose weight only to gain it back? How many hit their income goal only to return to old habits? That happens because they were chasing a result, not a lifestyle. So flip the switch in your mind. Stop asking, when will I get there? And start asking, how can I enjoy getting better today? Focus on small, consistent actions. Embrace the ordinary. Celebrate the reps. Because the secret is, if you fall in love with the process, the prize will eventually chase you. And when it does, it won't just be something you have. It'll be something you're ready to keep. Because you earned it through growth, not luck. Through consistency, not hype. Through process, not wishful thinking. Fall in love with the work. Obsess over the daily improvement. That's where greatness begins. No. 2. Use every setback as data, not drama. Setbacks are not the enemy of growth. They're the fuel for it. The difference between people who grow and people who stay stuck is how they respond when things don't go according to plan. Most people take a setback and turn it into a story. I'm not good enough. This always happens to me. Maybe I should quit. That's not growth. That's drama. And drama is a dead end. But when you're obsessed with growth, you flip the script. You stop making failure personal, and you start making it practical. You treat every setback like data. Just feedback. Just a signal from the universe saying, not this way, try again. Imagine a scientist running an experiment. When it doesn't go as expected, they don't fall apart emotionally. They ask, what happened? What variable changed? What can we learn from this? Growth-minded people approach life the same way. They remove the emotion, they study the outcome, and they course correct. You didn't fail the test. You discovered a gap in your knowledge. You didn't bomb the presentation. You uncovered a skill you need to improve. You didn't lose the client. You gained insight on how to communicate better next time. That's what it means to use setbacks as data. You become a student of your own life. But let's be clear. This mindset takes maturity. It takes humility. It requires you to let go of your ego and embrace reality, even when it stings. You have to look at your mistakes without judgment. You have to lean into the discomfort of being wrong, without turning it into a story about your worth. Here's the truth. Growth is not always glamorous. Sometimes it looks like sitting with your failure and asking hard questions. Sometimes it looks like picking yourself up after embarrassment and deciding to try again. But every time you choose reflection over reaction, every time you ask what you can learn instead of who you can blame, you evolve, you rise, you become stronger. And the best part, once you build this mindset, nothing can stop you. Because setbacks will still happen, but now they don't knock you off course. They clarify the course. You start moving through life with curiosity instead of fear. You become resilient, adaptable, and dangerous in the best possible way. So the next time you hit a wall, don't dramatize it. Don't shrink. Don't spiral. Ask yourself, what is this teaching me? What would the next level version of me do with this moment? Then use that data to move forward sharper, wiser, and more intentional than ever before. Growth doesn't come from avoiding failure. It comes from mining it for gold. Use every setback as data, not drama, and your life will start accelerating in ways you never imagined. Point number 3, ruthlessly audit your. You can have the best intentions in the world. You can have discipline, motivation, and vision. But if your environment is working against your growth, you will stay stuck. That's not negativity, it's reality. Your environment is the invisible hand that shapes your habits, your mindset, your energy, and ultimately, your future. You cannot grow in soil that poisons your potential. You cannot evolve in spaces that keep dragging you back into old versions of yourself. That's why, if you're serious about transformation, you must ruthlessly audit your environment. Take a look around your life. Who are the 5 people you spend the most time with? What do your daily spaces, your room, your desk, your phone, look like? What are you feeding your mind on a regular basis? These things are not neutral. They are either pulling you forward or holding you back. Let's start with people. If you're constantly surrounded by complainers, critics, or people who think small, you will shrink to fit the environment. It's not about arrogance, it's about alignment. You need people in your life who challenge your limits, not just comfort your excuses. People who make you think bigger, act braver, and become more. If your circle isn't pushing you forward, it's pulling you down. Now look at your digital environment. What do you see when you open your phone? Is it mindless scrolling, negativity, comparison, distraction? Or is it knowledge, inspiration, challenge, and clarity? Your attention is one of your greatest assets, and your environment decides where it flows. Don't leave it to chance. Design it with intention. Even your physical space matters. A cluttered desk leads to a cluttered mind. An unorganized home breeds procrastination. Small changes like creating a space that energizes you, setting visual reminders of your goals, or removing distractions can have a massive impact on your daily discipline. Here's the truth. Environment often beats willpower. You can't rely on sheer motivation every day, but when your environment supports your habits, the path becomes smoother. It's easier to win when the playing field is set up for your success. So be ruthless. Audit everything. Ask yourself, is this relationship helping me grow? Is this habit supporting my future? Is this space helping me focus? Is this content feeding my soul?
or just numbing it. And here's the key: don't just remove the negative, replace it with the positive. Don't just eliminate toxic people, seek out mentors, growth-minded peers, or inspiring communities. Don't just delete time-wasting apps. Fill the space with books, podcasts, and resources that build you up. Growth doesn't just happen in your mind, it happens in your environment. So if you're truly obsessed with your future, don't just set goals, set standards for the world you live in. Because the stronger your environment, the stronger your momentum. And when your environment aligns with your ambition, your growth becomes unstoppable.
Oldest 4. Chase discipline, not motivation. Let's get real. If you're waiting for motivation to show up before you take action, you'll wait forever. Motivation is a spark. It's unreliable, inconsistent, and fleeting. It might show up today, disappear tomorrow, and abandon you completely when things get hard. But discipline is different. Discipline is solid. It's dependable. It shows up when you don't feel like it. It's the quiet force behind every person who achieves anything great. That's why people who are obsessed with growth don't chase motivation. They build discipline. They don't rely on their feelings. They rely on their commitment. Discipline means you do it anyway. You get up early when you'd rather sleep in. You go to the gym when you're sore. You write when you don't feel creative. You study when you're tired. Why? Because you made a promise to yourself, and growth-obsessed people keep their promises. Here's the hard truth most people avoid. Your future is not shaped by what you do when you're inspired. It's shaped by what you do consistently when you're not. Anyone can take action when it's easy, but discipline kicks in when the excitement wears off. That's where the real gains are made. That's where your edge is built. Every time you act without needing to be hyped up, you strengthen your internal power. You build mental toughness. You become the kind of person who gets things done no matter the mood. And the beautiful part, discipline compounds. What starts as difficult becomes your new normal. The things that once felt hard, waking up early, eating clean, showing up daily, become your baseline, your standard, your identity. But here's what people often misunderstand. Discipline isn't about being harsh or robotic. It's about freedom. Because the more disciplined you are, the more control you have over your life. You don't live at the mercy of mood swings or procrastination. You're not a slave to your emotions. You're a leader of your actions. So how do you build discipline? Start small. Pick one thing you can commit to daily, no matter what. Make it non-negotiable. Remove the option to quit. Don't negotiate with yourself in the moment. Decide in advance. And when it gets hard, remember this: you're not doing it because it's easy. You're doing it because it's who you are becoming. And every time you follow through, even when it's tough, you cast a vote for that stronger version of you, the disciplined version, the future-focused version, the version of you that doesn't need motivation to move because they are the movement. Growth doesn't reward the talented. It rewards the disciplined, the ones who show up rain or shine, the ones who act from vision, not emotion, the ones who do what needs to be done even when no one's watching. So stop waiting for motivation. Build the muscle of discipline. Train it daily. Protect it fiercely. Because when discipline becomes your default, nothing can stop your momentum. No, build a system, not just a goals are exciting. They give us something to aim for, a vision to chase, and a spark of motivation to get started. But here's the harsh truth. Goals alone don't get results. Systems do. Anyone can set a goal. In fact, millions of people do it every New Year's Day. But how many of those goals turn into real lasting change? Very few, because people focus on what they want, but they ignore how they're going to get there. And that's where the power of systems comes in. A system is your daily process. It's the routine, the structure, the repeatable set of actions that guide your behavior, even on the days you don't feel like showing up. It removes emotion and guesswork from the equation. It replaces inconsistency with rhythm. And when built right, a system creates momentum that builds on itself. Let's make it practical. Want to get in shape? That's a goal. But the system might be working out 4 days a week at 7 a.m., prepping your meals every Sunday, and tracking your calories daily. Want to write a book? That's a goal. But the system is writing 500 words every morning before distractions start. Want to grow a business? Your system might be reaching out to 5 leads a day, reviewing key metrics every week, and blocking 2 hours each day for deep work. When you rely only on goals, your progress becomes emotional. You feel good when you see results, but discouraged when progress slows. You get caught in the trap of all or nothing thinking. One bad day turns into quitting, but systems take the emotion out of it. They allow you to focus on what you can control, your actions. James Clear said it best: you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Goals set the direction, but systems are what get you moving and keep you moving. Now here's the game changer. When you commit to a system, you start to shift your identity. You stop saying, I want to be a writer, and start saying, I write every day. You stop hoping to be healthy and start living as someone who trains and eats clean. Your identity becomes tied to the process, not the outcome, and that's where real transformation happens. So how do you build a great system?
Keep it simple, start small, make it easy to repeat, focus on consistency, not perfection, and most importantly, track it, because what gets measured gets managed. When you're obsessed with growth, you realize that goals are just milestones, systems are the engine, and when that engine is firing daily, success becomes a byproduct, not a surprise. So don't just dream about the finish line. Build a repeatable, sustainable system that walks you there step by step, day by day, rep by rep, and before you know it, you won't just reach your goals, you'll outgrow them. No. 6. Never stop reinventing yourself. The most dangerous belief you can adopt is this: I've arrived. The moment you start thinking you've made it, you stop growing, you slow down, you settle. And that's when your decline begins, not because of failure, but because of comfort. Growth-obsessed people never stop reinventing themselves. They don't cling to who they were yesterday. They chase who they can become tomorrow, because they know the truth. Every level of life demands a new version of you. Reinvention is not a one-time act. It's a lifelong discipline. It's looking at your current habits, your current mindset, your current results, and asking, what's no longer serving me? What got you here won't get you there. If you want next level results, you need next level thinking, next level habits, and next level courage. Most people resist change because it feels like loss, but those who are obsessed with growth see reinvention as power. They understand that clinging to an outdated version of themselves is like trying to run the latest software on an old device. It crashes. It underperforms. It gets stuck. You need updates. You need evolution. Think about it. The most successful people you admire, whether in business, sports, or life, have reinvented themselves again and again. They've adapted, expanded, and pivoted when necessary. Not because they were broken, but because they were ready for more. And here's what's beautiful. Reinvention doesn't mean you throw away your past. It means you build on it. You take what served you, you let go of what doesn't, and you reshape yourself to match the person you're becoming. It's about upgrading, not erasing. So how do you start? First, self-awareness. Regularly check in with yourself. Am I playing small just to feel safe? Have I stopped taking risks because I'm protecting a comfort zone? Is the life I'm living a reflection of my current potential or my past identity? Next, disrupt your patterns. Read books that stretch your mind. Enter rooms where you're the least experienced person. Learn new skills, even if they scare you. Say yes to things that your old self would have avoided. Growth lives outside of what's familiar. Finally, release the fear of what others think. Reinvention can make people uncomfortable, especially those who expect you to stay the same. But remember, their comfort with your past doesn't define your future. You are not obligated to remain the version of yourself that they remember. Keep evolving, keep shedding old layers, keep upgrading your standards, your mindset, and your habits, because every time you reinvent yourself, you step into new possibilities. You unlock new levels of confidence, clarity, and capability. Growth is not a straight line. It's a spiral staircase, and every time you rise, the view changes, but only if you're willing to climb. So never stop asking, who do I need to become next? Because when reinvention becomes your rhythm, greatness becomes your destiny.